What's going on, top producers? So this is part two to the video that I made last week in regards to editing. So first we talked about slicing things up, cutting things up, adding overlays, and basically dealing with some mistakes that happen right in the actual cutting process. Now we're going to go over some hacks and things to save you a lot of time in the long run. So enjoy the video. Alrighty, welcome back. So we went over the first part of editing, right, which was the slices and the actual editing aspects, right? So looking for the likes and the ums and the long pauses and slicing it up and doing the tedious part and throwing on some overlays. So we kind of went over the majority of what we're going to do in regards to editing. In this particular video, what I want to go over is some theoretical stuff, right? And some things that are like going to be hacks that are going to help you save time, right? So obviously there's a bunch of shortcuts that you should look up in regards to your keyboard, right? So like Command Z is undo, right? That saves a lot of time instead of constantly clicking undo or redo, so on and so forth, right? Copy and paste, like Command copy, Command C, Command V are also ones that I utilize a lot in regards to copying and pasting things and moving things over, right? So besides those things, there's a lot of mental things that I like to have for myself, right? And I actually made a mistake currently that's pretty funny that I want to kind of go over with you guys so you guys don't make that same mistake that I'm making. So whether I'm hiring you or whether you're just trying to improve your video knowledge or your video editing knowledge, this is really going to help you out. So let me just share my screen really quickly. It's a couple of things that I feel like could be avoided. That I made a mistake with. So, it's a good thought process. So the first thing that I realized that I made a mistake with, which I should have kind of brought forward a lot earlier, was I like to break my video down into 4 parts. Like I said, I have the introduction, I have the meat and potatoes, I have the conclusion, and then I have the audio, right? We're going to go over the audio later on in this video after I'm done editing. So I'm going to actually pause this video and then bring you guys back for the audio after I'm kind of done with this particular section. But we went over the introduction. So this is where we went over, as you can see. Then I didn't review the full meat and potatoes. I kind of just went straight into editing, which is usually a big mistake. I like to kind of watch my videos in sections just so I can highlight any particular mess ups that I have, so I can save myself time. Because sometimes you get into the cutting and zooming in like mind frame and you're not like looking too far ahead. You have to actually, sometimes I mess up and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to restart that whole section. So let's say I'm breaking it down into 4 topics, right? So I'm talking about in this particular video, 4 video marketing ideas. Right? So I have 1, I have 2, I have 3, and I have 4, right? You want to review all 4 of them and identify if I mess up any like times multiple times, right? Because then you're going to start editing parts that don't need to be edited. You could just slice those whole parts out completely and save yourself a ton of time. So don't make that mistake, right? So what I like to do, right, is when I'm watching a video, I highlight where my introduction is going to be, where my meat and potatoes is going to be after I watch through the whole video. And I kind of pinpoint that using this little tool right here. So I'm circling it. It's a little like a highlighter tool, I kind of call it. I don't know exactly the name for it. If you know the name for it, let me know in the comments below. But you just click this and it'll highlight that timestamp of where you want it to identify, right? So as you can see here, I identified the introduction. So from here to here, that's the introduction, right? And from here to some over here somewhere is the meat and potatoes, right? So I'm going into like details, but I made that mistake. So now I'm gonna go over the exact mistake that I made that you should avoid, right? So I got into all my editing, which is the quarterly market update, right? So right here is number 2. Going to utilize is something that's super. So let's see, goes viral. You have to be strategic with these videos. It's really going to help you out. The second strategy. So this is where I messed up, right? So another hack or another thing that you want to be aware of is that if you see like audio and then you see like a big pause and then like a little like attempt and then another big pause, you might want to investigate, right? So you want to make sure that I didn't fuck up. So in this particular situation, I kept editing to utilize
is something that's super dry, but you have to make it fun, which is the quarterly market update, right?
So I'm like editing, I'm cutting parts out, I'm doing things like, to try to keep me on topic. And then I realize,
let your audience know this, and it's very, very beneficial because
I mess up. And then I start from scratch again.
The second strategy is one that a lot of people see as dry because it's super dry.
That's the face of fuck up. All right. So I messed up, right? And I'm still restarting and I'm struggling a little bit. And that's going to be normal, especially if you're someone that is new to making videos. And it's just going to happen, right? Especially if you're editing, and if you're editing for me, you're going to see it happen. In this particular video, I realized I made a lot of like hiccups and mistakes with like words that I was using. So sometimes you have a rough day, and that's normal, right? So if you identify these little hiccup like moments in the audio, that can save you a whole bunch of time. So you might want to fast forward next time and try to check it out. So I put this little marker here to let me know, like, okay, from this point forward, I could probably delete. So now I'm searching for that next part where I'm going to actually get through my full statement and see if it works, right? So let's see how this ends.
The market update.
So it looks like,
which leads us to strategy number 3.
All right, so I got through that. So I know that this area right here is the good take. So what I'm going to do is kind of cut in here. Bam, right? Now I'm going to mark it that this is the good take area, and I'm going to delete all of that. Unfortunately, that all gets deleted, right? Then I use my little snap tool, which we talked about in the last video, here, and click delete, and let's see how that looks.
Be strategic with these videos. It's really going to help you out.
So now there's definitely some smoothing that needs to be done. So I zoom in using my little zoom, which we talked about in the last video. Zoom in a little bit, and then I'm going to take this down. And let's see how that works.
You have to be strategic with these videos. It's really going to help you out. The second strategy that we're going to...
Perfect. Don't you love when things are serendipitous, right? So
it's really going to help you out. The second strategy that we're going to utilize is the quarterly market update.
That's a zoom in moment, right? The quarterly market update. So I'm going to zoom in here. And that's pretty much it, right? So that's
the quarterly market
how you
update.
avoid mistakes,
a lot of
right? Now, like I said, use the audio to your advantage. You can clearly identify where things are going to be messed up and where not, just based on the audio, right? So either A, I talk really fast in this moment and I kind of got through my topic a lot faster than I originally thought, or this may have been a mess up and I restarted, all right? So let's dive in over here. Let's see.
Which leads us to which leads
us to number 3. So that means I got through the second part, so I can cut down over here. I'll use my little as a part, but I'm gonna edit it out. All right.
Market update.
All right, so now bam.
This quarterly market update, which leads us to strategy number 3, which is my...
Let's try to edit me scratching my face out. Oh man, this video was rough, man. I must say it wasn't the smoothest of videos that I've done in my life, and I'm glad that it happened, and I'm glad that I'm editing this one in front of you guys, because sometimes your biggest mistakes are the biggest lessons you can learn. You could quote that one. All right, so let's see how this looks now, and maybe I might have to smooth it out like I showed you guys in the last video, but I'm gonna smooth it out possibly. So let's see here.
Market update, which leads us to strategy number 3.
Not too bad, but I'm gonna smooth it out by doing a zoom in, all right? So I'm gonna do a smooth out zoom in. That's what I call it. I'm patenting the word. Smooth in, zoom in. Or smooth in, zoom in. Smooth and zoom in. I don't know. We'll come up with it.
Seeing this quarterly market update, which leads us to strategy number 3.
So it looks a lot smoother, a lot cleaner.
Which is my favorite, which is a listing spotlight. So
another so I might go in there and take away that so and the
So-
plus. All right, anyway, so obviously there's a lot more editing that's going to be involved in this video. I just wanted to show you a mistake that I made and the thought processes that I usually follow that I didn't follow this time, and I made a mistake and I wasted some time, right? So I want you guys to remember that, super important. And now we're going to dive into the audio. So I'm gonna obviously finish this video, but I'm just gonna show you guys how I do my audio and how that works, right? So obviously your audio mixer is over here. You can find a lot of free audio on YouTube. If you go to their audio library, it's royalty free and it does help out. I usually use price tags and the anthem, the grand fair MP3 on all my videos. You know, it's the beat that I like. But to be honest with you, a lot of people are not going to be listening to the beat. I don't put it loud enough for people to actually listen. It's just a rhythmic tone that's in the background to kind of break up the monotony of just hearing my voice. Because in this particular video, I might even throw some audio on because it's such a long form video, right? So you kind of want to have that little in the background, which it just gives it a nice little flavor, I think, in my opinion. So let's go over this audio right now. So I put the audio in, I drag it where it belongs. Let me take away this front part right here, snap it down. Now, this is how it's gonna come in.
what's going on with that?
So obviously that's way too loud, right? So you're gonna have to, obviously, depending on how you speak, right, compared to how I speak, it's completely different, right? So you're gonna have to kind of pinpoint. My sweet spot is usually negative 35 decibels, around 28. So let's see how that sounds.
What's going on, my top producers, Alexander Fazelani here, and today we are going to discuss 4
Yep, so that's about right.
video marketing ideas for real estate agents. But before we do that, I'm gonna need you to like, subscribe, to hit that notification bell so we can continuously bring this content to you every Tuesday and Friday for free 99. But before we do that, I'm gonna need you guys to check out Design for Agents. There's a lot of great products there, whether it be for branding, marketing, or organizing your business. You can check that out in the description below. Video.
So there you have it. So the audio is good. The thought processes are there. Now, one last tip before I let you guys go on this, right? So we talked about the thought process in regards to breaking down your video into 3 sections or 4 sections, right? So you have audio, you have the intro, first you have the intro, then you have the meat and bones, and then you have the conclusion, and then you have the audio, right? We went over some hacks in regards to, like, you know, identifying where the fuck ups are and things of that nature. Now, another you know, big thing that I highly recommend everybody do is sometimes your person that you're editing for or yourself, you're on a roll and you have like just great content coming out of your mouth and you're in tune with the universe and you're just like throwing all these great tips out there and there might not be a lot of cuts, right? In those situations, I always add some type of overlay to break up the monotony. So for example, let's say
Strategy that we're going to utilize is the quarterly market update. A lot of agents utilize this, but they do it in such a dry way where everybody yawns and everyone falls asleep.
So for example, let's say I have so much great content here. There's some zoom in, some zoom outs, but I might want to break up, like, you know, by requesting something like subscribing, right? So I usually utilize this one, social media subscribe button. I don't know why it's called social media because it's YouTube, but whatever, right? So I'll take this and I'll drag that over like somewhere here, and it kind of just pops up on the
What
screen.
I would do is I would through,
while I'm talking.
let them know what your favorite properties on the current market are, you know, talk about, you know, what's selling compared to last year, give them an update, make it as entertaining as possible.
So now it kind of breaks up that monotony of just like zooming in, zooming out. And it also reminds them to subscribe and, do those things, right? So you want to kind of throw those in every so often. Don't throw too many in because nobody likes to be bombarded with like, hey, subscribe, check out my website, hey, subscribe, right? You want to make sure you kind of throw those in there little by little. So there you have it, guys. That is literally my editing process. It's not always easy, obviously with this video, but it's always worth it because it always comes out pretty good and I really enjoy it. If you have any questions in regards to this, please let me know in the comments below. And I look forward to making more of these tutorial videos because I usually don't do these. I usually make more edited type things. But if you like this video, let me know. I will continuously make more, content like this if you guys really like it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.